Yo, good evening, USA, International, Canada, Long Island, aka Strong Island, the tri state areas of New Jersey, Connecticut, plus the five spots of Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, Staten Island, and Queens. This is your man and homie, G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator. Rhymes with now or later. Your host with the most misunderstood, lonely nomad, unstoppable independent podcaster, creator, YouTuber, and Queens, New York native who is also a New York Mets fan from the neck of the woods, who is a New York Mets fan alongside with the New York Giants fan from the neck of the woods of Laurelton, Queens, New York. And yes, you are now rocking with me by listening, tuning in, streaming, and watching the 117th episode of the Sports Edition show. Excellent, fun, vibrant talks podcast. And man, oh man, I got a lineup of sports topics for you today. And what a day and a good time to be a New York Mets fan. And the reason I say that is because earlier I was watching the game in spring training as the Mets defeat the Houston Astros. Um, I will talk about that. I will talk about that before I wrap up the show today, man. They defeat they defeat the Houston Astros 4-3. So I'm gonna do a little game recap today, though, man. And and yeah, man, we're live and direct from StreamYard alongside with YouTube and the comfort of my room where I do my podcast recordings. And this is the platform where I talk about sports news, whether it's football news in regards to the New York Giants, in regards to the New York Knicks, in regards to the New York Mets, um, and any other various topics that's like sports related. I would try to actually cover that as far as um anything, man, anything basketball related, anything baseball related. Like for instance, there's two former Mets players that signed to a different deal that I didn't get a chance to talk about actually, but I'll get to that in just a moment actually. So, if you are new to this sports channel, excellent fun vibrant talks podcast, please make sure you click on that subscribe button on the YouTube channel page and leave a like and a comment on the sports topics in each episode. And of course, you can share this with your husbands, your wives, your boyfriends, girlfriends, people you're cool with from work if they are into sports. And and of course, don't forget to leave a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts alongside with a positive review. It really helps me out as a as your host of a sports podcast and other podcast shows that I do on the side as well. So, um, without further ado, we gotta talk a little basketball news in a sec. Actually, I need to get to the injury report and the recent game that took place on February 4th. So, let's get started with this: the quick side bleacher bar. All right, all things that's trending in sports. All right, let's talk a little basketball news for a sec, shall we? I want to talk about the injuries first, actually, to see what happened with the Knicks, actually. So I want to get to it first before I go on to the recent game that they won. So let's get to this first. Let me just find it first. Let me see. Let me see if I can find it first, actually. So let's see if I can find it. Um, 'Cause- 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 All right, first injury report. Um, According to the RX website, actually. So this happened last week, actually. So we got here's what's going on here. So what happened is tracking NBA injuries is crucial for understanding team dynamics and player availability. And of course, this took place on February 27th of this year. The New York Knicks injury report is sourced directly from ESPN, ensuring accuracy for bettors and fans alike. Yeah, so Miles McBride has an ankle injury actually and expected to return indefinitely. McBride's ankle injury occurring earlier this month has sidelined him for the Knicks. As a key rotational player, McBride's absence impacts the depth. Yeah, the depth significantly. His role as a versatile guard means adjustments are necessary for the Knicks to maintain their competitive edge. With McBride out, players like Jose Alvarado and Landry Shamet are likely to see increased minutes. Alvarado's recent performance off the bench shows he is ready to step up, while Shamet's shooting prowess will be crucial to fill the void left by McBride. Expect the Knicks to shuffle their depth chart to adapt accordingly. All right, game strategy. Yeah, so yeah, there you go, man. Game strategy into their next game against the Milwaukee Bucks, which took place on February 27th. The Knicks will need to strategize without McBride. The absence will challenge their defensive setups and rotations and offers an opportunity for emerging players to prove themselves on a big stage. Their strategy will involve leveraging their strengths in the center and forward positions to counter the Bucks' offensive threats. Okay, I'm not really good with predictions, so please forgive me. Anyway, let me take a look if there's any other injury reports to talk about. Hold on, let me see. Okay, New York Knicks. Injury report 2026. Lord. Okay. Injury reports. So let's see. hmm Let's see. All right. I want to take a look at this actually. So let's see. Let me see. Injury report. Where is this? NBA injury report. Damn. Wait a minute here. Wait a minute here. Anything? Wait a second. Um. Okay. I'm at this stick to. Hmm. Okay. Let me see. All right. Yeah, McBride is out actually. Yeah. Yeah, McBride will undergo surgery for a core muscle injury and may be sidelined until the playoffs. James L. Edwards III um of the Athletic reports. Hmm. Oh boy. Wow. Okay. If I can figure out where the hmm. Hmm. All right. Let me see. Maybe full injury report. Yeah, okay. So yeah, yeah. So Mitchell Robinson is out with a left ankle injury management, and McBride remains sideline recovering from a pelvic core muscle surgery. Who else is injured? Let me see. Oh boy. So let me see. This is crazy, man. This is crazy. Um, hmm. Yeah, Anomaly has a toe injury. You have Mitchell Robinson with an ankle injury. You got Josh Hart with an ankle injury. Um, yeah, Carl Anthony Towns, he has an eye issue, and of course, yeah, that's crazy, man. So that's the injury report. Um, that's the injury report actually for the month of February. Let's go to let's go to um some other Knicks related stuff. Let's see. Let me see. Where is it? Where is it? Yes. So the Cavaliers rebounded from a yeah. So the Cavaliers rebounded from a tough road loss in another marquee game, prevailing 109 to 94 against the Knicks that took place on February 24th. The Cavs were coming off a loss defending NBA champion Oklahoma City, a skeleton crew version of the Thunder, as they dealt with several injuries. The loss snapped Cleveland's 7-game winning streak, which had been intact since it acquired James Harden and others prior to the February 5th trade deadline. But the Cavs avenged their two previous defeats this season at the hands of the Knicks, um, 37 and 22. The result moved the Cavs into a tie for third place in the Eastern Conference, though the Knicks hold the tiebreaker between the two teams, which sucks, man. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, that sucks, man. You know what I mean? That really sucks. Um, yeah. Yeah, that's crazy, man. It's crazy how they lost though, man. Wait, didn't they win the game recently? Didn't they win the game recently? Hold on a second. Hold on. Come on. All right. I get it. So let me see. So yeah. So far the Knicks won against the 76ers. They won against the no, hold on. No, they lost to the Pistons. They won against the Rockets. They won against the Bulls. They lost to the Cavaliers, and they won against the Bucks. So let's take a look at the recent win that they did. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see something here. Hmm. Let me see. Let me go against the Cavaliers, but anyway, actually, all right. So let's talk about this one right there. They did win a game today, actually. So let's talk about this instead of the negative loss. So there is beating good teams in the second half. Then there is what the New York Knicks did to the San Antonio Spurs on Sunday afternoon at Madison Square Garden. Behind Mikal Bridges, 25 point and 5 steals. New York drubbed the number 2 seed in the Western Conference, who entered the weekend matinee in the Big Apple on an 11-game winning streak. Obviously, this is one of the better teams in the league, but you use every game as a benchmark once the All-Star break passes, head coach Mike Brown said. I've been with teams where we've lost against good teams, and we still won a championship. You use every game, but this is a better team, and you can really look closely at it to dissect different things about the game because it could be a potential matchup in the playoffs. But whether we win or lose, or if we lose, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to make it to our ultimate goal. In as complete and balanced an attack as seen all season, Jalen Brunson added 24 with 7 assists. Carl Anthony Towns posted 12 points and 14 rebounds, and Josh Hart had 10 points, 10 boards, and seven helpers of his own. Off the bench, rookie forward Mohamed Diawara was solid for a second straight game, recording 14 points on 4 3-pointers. 2 nights prior in Milwaukee, he posted 10 points and 3 boards in 23 minutes. The Knicks, 39-22, turned the game on its head early with a 26-2 run between the first and second quarters, which overturned an initial 19-7 hole. At one point during that run, New York reeled off 19 straight points, which was the largest unanswered run allowed by the Spurs this season. While Bridges had the hot hand, shooting 10 of 17 from the floor and 5 of 9 from 3-point range, Hart once again provided the sandpaper necessary to lead a collective effort to neutralize Spurs star Victor Wembanyama, who still had 25 points, 13 rebounds, and 4 blocks in the loss. But the Knicks forced him to commit 7 turnovers. His afternoon was embodied just over 4 minutes into the third quarter when with the Knicks up 61-51, he cut in front of the much larger Wemban Hold on. Wembania. Wem Wemben Wembanima. Man, everybody's last name is so fucking hard to pronounce these days, man. Don't even get me started with Giannis. For an offensive rebound off a Miss Brunson floater and got it out to Bridges for an open triple. Once a team that struggled mightily defending the perimeter, the Knicks held the Spurs to just a 26% success rate from deep. This was a good win by our guys, Brown said. For them to shoot 26% from the three, our activity from the weak side was good. We had five guys on a string. So when we went to go help on dribble drives, our weak side was active in the way. Excuse me, it was active in the right way. So congratulations to the New York Knicks. They defeat the Spurs in a 114-89 defeat. Okay, on to some former Met players, man. First and foremost, I want to actually get into. Hold on a second. I want to get into. Yeah. I want to get into a former player. If I could actually just three. It's two or three, one of them. Okay. Former player from the Mets, the Twins, the Phillies. So the San Francisco Giants have agreed to a 2-year deal worth $20.5 million with free agent center fielder Harrison Bader. A source told ESPN's Jeff Passan on Monday. Bader, age 31, is a right-handed hitter who's coming off one of his best offensive seasons and provides a major boost to the Giants' center field defense, an organizational goal for the offseason. As a team, Giants outfielders posted minus 18 outs above average in 2025, tied with the Baltimore Orioles for the worst mark in the major leagues. Bader confirmed the deal on the show with Joe Sherman and John Heyman, calling the Giants a perfect fit for me. Well, first and foremost, the opportunity, there's no doubt about it, Bader said. All you can do in this game is just work to set yourself up for the best opportunity possible. And I've always wanted to play as many games, have as many at bats as possible, be on a winning team. I'm just really, really happy it worked out because it's very rare in this game that things work out pretty perfectly. Bader, who won a Gold Glove in 2021 and continues to receive high marks for his defense, can now slot in as the everyday center fielder, possibly prompting Jung Hoo Lee, a superior thrower who displayed subpar range last year, to shift to right field. Bader spent last season with the Minnesota Twins and the Philadelphia Phillies, slashing 277, 347, 449 with 17 homers, 54 RBIs, and 11 stolen bases in 18 attempts. His 796 OPS was the highest of his 9-year career. Originally a third-round pick by the St. Louis Cardinals in 2015, Bader has slashed 247, 313, 401 for different teams since 2017. Yeah, let me see. Where is I? Bader's biggest improvement last season was his production against same side pitching, slashing 300, 369, 476 against right handers, and showing he can be more than a platoon player. The Bader signing is a highlight in a relatively conservative offseason for the Giants, who have mostly added two starters, Tyler Tyler Mail, MAHLE, and Adrian Hauser on low cost deals. The team is expected to be in the market for a second baseman, so that's not gonna really gonna happen though. Okay, another former Met that we need to talk about is, let me see. Another former Met that we need to talk about is hang on one second. One second here. Hang on one second. Another former Met that we gotta talk about is, I don't know if anybody talked about this I don't think anybody talked about this, but let me see. I don't think anybody talked about it. Yes, I'm pretty sure most of you may have remembered Griffin Canning, who was a New York Mets pitcher who had the injury. So you might want to listen to this actually. So the Friars have reportedly agreed to deals with former Met Griffin Canning and former Philly Nick Castell hold on Nick Castell Castellanos. The Canning deal was first reported Friday night by the Divine Sports Gospel and confirmed this morning by Robert Murray, who stated the deal would be official once Canning passed a physical. Murray reported also that Castellanos Castellanos and the Padres had agreed to a deal Saturday morning, with San Diego paying the league minimum. The right-handed bat had a tumultuous ending, ending with the city of Philadelphia, first being told not to report to camp, then being released due to various clubhouse issues in 2025, which Castellanos um, touched on in an Instagram post. With the addition of Castellanos and Canning, the Padres have surpassed their 40-man roster and will have to make a corresponding move. Jeez, man. Jeez. Castellanos' best season with the Phillies came in 2023, where he slashed 272, 311, 431 with 29 homers, and in 111 OPS plus. He never recorded an OPS at 800 during his time in Philadelphia, and struggled last season to a 694 OPS and negative 0.8 B WAR. Meanwhile, Canning was in the midst of a resurgent year in 2025, tearing his Achilles in a start in June against the Braves. The righty registered a 3.77 ERA in 16 starts with the Mets and allowing less than a home run per start, 0.9. Let me see if there's more to this. Let me see. Yeah, that's crazy, man. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Um, yeah. Very unfortunate news, man. Oh man. Very unfortunate that he's no longer there. Let me see. Who else got traded? Who else got traded though? Who else got traded? Hold on. Yes. The Pittsburgh Pirates continue shaping their bullpen pitcher Thursday, adding experience through a minor league contract while maintaining roster flexibility, according to Clutch Points. Pittsburgh addressed bullpen depth by adding a veteran arm with recent major league success. The Pirates reached an agreement with right-handed reliever Chris Devenski, Chris Devenski, former Met, on a minor league deal that includes an invitation to spring training. The move adds competition to the relief mix while limiting long-term risk. A familiar approach in recent Pirates roster decisions. Devenski joins the organization after spending the 2025 season with the New York Mets. Bolstering bullpen depth has been a priority as the Pirates look to support a young pitching staff. Devenski brings experience and a track record of effectiveness when healthy. In limited major league action last season, he delivered solid results, showing the command and swing and miss ability that once made him a dependable bullpen option. The agreement was first reported by the Athletics' Ken Rosenthal, who you may know from Fair Territory podcast, who shared the news on X, formerly Twitter, confirming Devenski's agreement with the Pirates. Free agent right-handed reliever Chris Devenski in agreement with Pirates on minor league contract. Source tells The Athletic. The fit between Devenski and the Pirates centers on low risk with potential upside. At age 35, he is no longer viewed as a long-term solution, but his recent performance suggests he can still provide meaningful innings. If he earns a roster spot, Pittsburgh gains a reliable middle relief option without a guaranteed financial commitment. Moves like this reflect a broader organizational strategy. The Pirates have consistently used minor league contracts to evaluate veterans while preserving flexibility on the 40-man roster. Devenski is expected to compete in camp, with AAA a likely starting point if he does not break camp with the major league club. For the Pirates, the signing represents a practical depth addition rather than a headline move. A spring training approaches Devenski presence give the bullpen another experience option and reinforces the club's willingness to uncover value wherever it appears. Yeah. That part right there, yeah, that's interesting. All right, we're not doing the Ryan O'Hearn thing. Not doing the Ryan O'Hearn thing. Hold on. Let me see. Let me see something here. Okay, let's see. Most recently, the Mets signed MJ Melendez. So the Mets and MJ Melendez agreed to a 1-year, $1.5 million deal with $500K in incentives in the twilight of the 2026 season, giving the Mets another option to fill out their bench and giving Melendez a legitimate shot to open the 2026 season on a major league roster. According to Will Salmon of The Athletic, it is a split deal, meaning his salary differs depending on whether he is in the big leagues or in the minor leagues. Melendez, now age 27, spent his entire professional career up until now with the Kansas City Royals. The Daytona Beach, Florida native was drafted in the second round by the Royals in 2017, foregoing a commitment to Florida International University to turn pro. He eventually became one of the best prospects in the sport, earning top 100 prospect status from Baseball Prospectus. Baseball America, yeah, baseball baseball prospectus number 35, Baseball America number 42, and MLB Pipeline number 51 prior to the 2022 season. Then, as a catcher, he eventually made his debut in 2022, moving positions and converting to the corner outfield, where he has been given a regular part of the Royals major league roster until last season. He never reached the heights he did as a prospect in the majors, putting together 3 okay seasons at the plate. 97 WRC plus in 2022, 93 WRC plus in 2023, 86 WRC plus in 2024. Before falling off a cliff in 2025, hitting point 083, 154, 167, negative 14 WRC plus in 23 games before getting sent to Triple A for the remainder of the season. He was a non-tendered after the season and became a free agent. He comes to the Mets a career 2015, 215, 297, 388 hitter with 52 home runs and in 435 games. Good for an 88 WRC plus. The Mets were in clear need of someone who can handle the corner outfield, especially after the acquisition of Luis Robert Jr. and the continued presence of Tyrone Taylor, who, by the way, hit a home run in today's spring training game to help the Mets win, and alongside with Chris Suero, leaving them completely covered in center field. They could also use someone who could hit left-handed off the bench, as their roster became right-handed heavy over the course of the offseason. For the Mets, Melendez represents a chance to get some pop off the bench and a chance to recapture some of his former top 100 prospect status that he had not too long ago. He also put together some roughly league average season as a major leaguer, and that is a welcome development from a bench player if they can get him back to that. He can serve as cover in the corner outfield, perhaps first base, according to Will Salmon, and will likely serve as the emergency catcher if he does make the roster. He will be a project for the new hitting apparatus of Jeff Albert and Troy Snicker. He also, according to Fangraphs, still has an option remaining, which still leaves David Stearns open to acquiring someone else for the role and stashing Melendez in Syracuse. For Melendez, the Mets represent a competitive environment that has a pretty open bench spot. So the combination of being on a major league roster on a good team on opening day is likely good to pass up for him. And speaking of which, the Mets acquired another 35-year-old grown-ass man who goes by the name of Mike Tauchman. Oh, by the way, actually, in one of the games, him and Marani Mauricio actually hit a home run. Actually, I may have missed it. Though. You know what I mean? I may have missed that. Let me see if I can find it. Yes, here we go. Mind you, folks, he's the same age as Marcus Semien. They are both going to turn 36. Can you imagine if they are not the same players as they were years ago? it'll be a catastrophe if they were on a decline and regression. That would be fucking bad. All right. All right. Yes, Mike Tauchman, the recent signee to the New York Mets. Let's talk about him for a sec, actually. Um, and this is according to the New York Post. For those of you who may not know, that's where I usually get my topics from. So that's pretty much what that is. So, with the spotlight firmly on top prospect Carson Benz this spring, there's no guarantee he'll break camp with the team. That's where Mike Tauchman comes in. Let's see. That's crazy, man. I didn't even think about this shit though. That's crazy, man. Wait a minute here. Just a sec. Just a second. Okay, where is the story about um where's the story about Mike Tauchman? Mike Tauchman, where is it? Ridiculous, huh? Hmm. Yeah, sorry about that. Let me see. All right. Okay. Let's see. So the New York Mets have signed veteran corner outfielder Mike Tauchman to a minor league deal, according to Will Salmon and Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic. Tauchman, age 35, who's the same age as Marcus Simeon, in case you didn't notice, posted a 263 batting average with 9 home runs, 40 RBIs, and a 756 OPS in 93 games with the White Sox in 2025. Tauchman even put up a 1.9 WAR, which is wins above replacement for anybody who don't know what the acronym is in 2025. Tauchman is an ex-Yankee who's been productive. Tauchman, who played for the Yankees 2019 to 2021, has bounced around the league, including a 2022 stint in the KBO, which is the Korea Professional Baseball League. In Korea, Topman put up a 289, 366, 430 slash line with um Hanwha Eagles before then returning to the majors in 2023, where he signed with the Cubs. Topman has spent the past year with the White Sox and the year prior with the Cubs since reporting from Korea. He came up with the Colorado Rockies in 2017 before being traded to the Yankees in 2019, his best season, when he posted a 3.9 WAR in 87 games with 13 home runs and an 865 OPS. Topman's Yankees tenure ended, however, after a shoulder injury during the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic season affected his performance, in which he later would spend time in the San Francisco Giants organization during the 2021 season. Tauchman has dealt with his fair share of injuries throughout his career, which include knee, shoulder, groin, and hamstring injuries, to name a few. When Topman has been healthy enough to stay on the field, he's been, for the most part, a productive player. Topman is a nice depth signing for the Mets. Topman will serve as a depth piece for a Mets team that has an open spot in the in their corner outfield, along with top prospect outfielder Carson Bench, trying to make the big league team out of camp this spring. The Mets also have Tyrone Taylor, MJ Melendez, who I just talked about. Um, yeah, and Brett Beatty, who, by the way, played a good first base in yesterday's game. And Luis Robert Jr. as other names in the potential outfield mix as well to open up the 2026 season. Topman can bring his veteran presence to the Mets clubhouse along with a more contact-oriented approach at the plate and a keen eye for the strike zone. Topman had a 23.8 chase percentage in 2025, putting him in the 78th percentile last season. According to Baseball Savant, Topman also isn't afraid to walk with a 11.7% walk rate in 2025, which placed him in the 84th percentile according to Baseball Savant. Topman, according to Baseball Savant, is also considered to be about average in 2025 as it pertains to range and OAA, which is out above average per Baseball Savant. Topman can cover either corner outfield spot, left or right field, and be a bat off the bench if he makes the Mets big league roster out of camp. The Mets were searching for additional outfield help this winter, especially with the departure of outfielder Brandon Nimmo in the trade with the Texas Rangers for infielder Marcus Semien. Regardless, this is a good depth piece signing for the Mets outfield with no real risk attached. Given it's a minor league deal with the potential of some upside given Topman's reputation as a player and overall hitting ability. Yeah, so like I said, man, he recently hit a home run in one of the games actually that I may have missed him and Ronnie Mauricio's home run. I may have missed that. Let's see. Let's see. What else do I have? Anything else to talk about? Hold on. Let me check something. Sorry about that. I had to put it on mute um because of a loud vehicle that's that's driving by my house. Anyway, let me see what else do we have on the agenda to talk about here. Ryan O'Hearn. Yes, Ryan O'Hearn. Let's talk about him. Let's talk about him. Ryan O'Hearn. Unfortunately, there's been some hype about trying to get him to the Mets, but that's not going to happen actually. But let's see. Let me see what's going on here. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so of course, most recently, actually. All right, so the Pittsburgh Pirates made their most important free agent signing official this off season. The Pirates announced that they officially signed Ryan O'Hearn to the roster in a press release. The deal is reportedly worth 2 years, $29 million, and with $1 million in incentives based on plate appearances. And let's see. First reports of O'Hearn signing with the Pirates came on December 23rd, making this 16 days later than previously expected. The holidays, plus O'Hearn and his wife Hannah having their first child, likely played a role in the official announcement taking as long as it did. O'Hearn joining the Pirates is important for their construction of a better lineup as they try and contend for the postseason in 2026. Importance of O'Hearn signing with the Pirates. Let me see. Importance. Yes. So the Pirates signing O'Hearn isn't just a big deal for their lineup, but shows a commitment they haven't made in a long time. This signing is their first multi-year free agent signing since right-handed starting pitcher Ivan Nova on a 3-year, $27 million deal on December 27, 2016. It is also their first free agent position player multi-year signing since John Jaso on a 2-year, $8 million deal on December 23rd, 2015, a decade prior. O'Hearn's contract is also the second largest free agent signing for the Pirates in their history. Only left-handed starting pitcher Francisco Laureano re-signing for 3 years, $39 million on December 9th, 2014 was higher. It is the highest AAV for any free agent signing in Pirates history, eclipsing the previous high of Liriano at $13 million. O'Hearn's contract also represents the second highest AAV for any Pirates contract, with only right-handed starting pitcher Mitch Keller having a higher AAV at $15.4 million on his 5-year, $77 million extension he signed on February 22nd, 2024. What the Pirates get from O'Hearn isn't a generational hitter, but his 437 slugging percentage and 803 OPS were both by far better than any hitter the Pirates had in 2025. He is also a versatile player, able to play both corner spots in the outfield, first base, and designated hitter. The Pirates could put O'Hearn in their vacant designated hitter spot for 2026. As the future of Andrew McCutchen with the franchise is unknown. O'Hearn isn't necessarily the greatest fielder, but his ability to fill in for Brian Reynolds in right field and give the Pirates some extra depth at left field, a position of great need, and also a pickup of Spencer Horwitz at first base is something the Pirates should consider. The Pirates need a left fielder for next season where O'Hearn could play at times, along with recent trade acquisitions in Jake Mangum and and Jay oh, Jay Hostinson Garcia. JHOSTYNXON Garcia. It's more likely he'll serve as the designated hitter for the Pirates and play first base at times. And he is also a left-handed batter like Horwitz, but unlike the Pirates' first baseman, O'Hearn can hit left-handed pitches, slashing 278, 358, 474 for an OPS of 832 in 97 at-bats versus Southpaws last season. O'Hearn has also performed better since the Kansas City Royals traded him to the Baltimore Orioles ahead of the 2023 season, where he broke out as an all-star. The Pirates, who hit the least home runs in baseball last season at 117, could use some solid power from O'Hearn. All right, so there you go, right there. There you go, right there. All right, I want to talk about the underrated Mets prospects in this episode. Yes, yeah, as you can see, episode 117 titled Underrated, which is dedicated to the underrated prospects in the Mets organization. Let's see. Underrated. Here we go. Let me see. Yes. Here we go. Underrated. So here we go. To start off my top 50 prospects for 2026, we looked at a few arms who could potentially help the Mets this season in the 50 to 46 group, and then the 45-41 group, most focused mostly on young talent from the Dominican League, Summer League. Right. So number 40, DeAndre Smith. DeAndre Smith. Let me see. DeAndre Smith. Age 24. Height is 5'9", 180 pounds. Drafted in 2022. Position right field, center field, left field, second base, and third base. 2025 stats: A+ Brooklyn, AA Binghamton, 406 PA, 282, 345, 417, and a homer, and a home run. 8 homers. Yeah. Which is short for home runs, folks. 31 SB and 127 WRC plus. ETA 2026. Okay, so there you go, right there. All right, so let's see. Let me see. So staying healthy and getting a chance for significant at bats have been a struggle for Smith before he set a career high with 101 games played last season. Smith played all 3 outfield spots and played second and third base too. Smith is known for being a hard worker with a great baseball IQ, which could explain part of the reason he was able to steal 31 bases last year with about average speed. Smith showed a little bit of pop in 2025 with 18 doubles, 4 triples, and 8 home runs, all career highs. The combination of solid defense all over the field, being a good base runner, and the presence of a little pop in 2025 makes Smith a candidate to be a future MLB bench player. And standout stats: Smith's 127 WRC plus ranked 9th among Mets minor league full season hitters in 2025. Let's see. Number 39, Douglas Orellana. Let's see. The former starter flourished in 2025 once he switched to being a reliever full time. He also stayed healthy, which allowed him to pitch 51 and 2/3 innings. For the second highest of his career, Orellana was very good in AA with a 1.64 ERA and a great 35.7 strikeouts percent. As many pitchers do, given its reputation as a hitter's league. Orellana struggled a bit when he went to AAA Syracuse. He walked 11 and gave up 11 hits in 18 and 2/3 as his first taste of AAA. Aurelana uses a fastball in the mid 90s that has hit 98 miles per hour. He uses an extreme overhand delivery that helps his fastball play up and get whiffs. Aurelana loves to throw his slider and has outings where he throws it 50% of the time. He occasionally mixes in a curveball. Standout stat, he gave up only 2 home runs in 51 and two-third innings. Number 38, Trey Snyder. Um, After playing in only 6 games following being drafted and given a $1.3 million bonus from the Mets in 2024, Snyder played a ton for St. Lucie in 2025, but the results weren't great. The youngster slashed 220, 336, 288 last year with with an 85 WRC plus that ranked 29th out of 37 qualified Florida State League hitters. On the positive side, offensively, Snyder did walk 41.1% of the time and did steal 41 bases. Defensively, Snyder struggled in the infield, but looked the best at second base. The Mets also played him in center field, and that looked like the better fit going forward. Despite the 41 steals and playing center field, he's only about average speed wise. Still, he will play the entire 2026 season at 20 years old and has shown he will take a walk and has some defensive versatility. His standout stat, point 0.5 swing and strike, was among the lowest in the FSL last year. Yeah, so he could play second base, third base, shortstop, and center field. So he's doing multiple positions actually, and of course the ETA is 2030. Okay, so number 37, Irving Cota. Okay. He was acquired as an international free agent, right-handed starting pitcher. And at 6'5", Cota is one of the taller starting pitching prospects in the Mets system. His simple mechanics bode well for him to add velo as he develops and are a big reason why he might have the best control in the Mets system. Cota has strong had a strong start on May 21st with a one hit, 5 scoreless outing, and then was promoted up to Double A Bigginson when they needed a spot starter. I say he did quite well, throwing his second straight start of 5 scoreless with one hit. He didn't issue a walk in either outing. He issued more than one walk in only 6 of his 25 outings. And his high for the season was 3 in his final start of the season for Brooklyn. Cota features a fastball in the low 90s, max about 96 miles per hour, a changeup, a curveball, and a slight slider. His changeup with above average arm side fade is his best secondary, and he uses it a lot against lefties. Standout stat among the 43 Mets minor leaguers with at least 50 innings last year. His 5.7 walk, his 5.7% walks was the fifth lowest. Number 36, Ronald Hernandez. Of course, he's a cat. He's not only a catcher, but he can also play first base. The Mets acquired Hernandez at the 2023 deadline when they traded veteran reliever David Robertson to the Marlins. Offensively, 2025 was a down year for Hernandez with a 224, 318, 335 slash line while he spent the entire season in Brooklyn. He did go 23 for 28 stealing bases in 2025 after entering the season with just 17 in his first 4 pro seasons. Hernandez is a significantly better left-handed hitter than he is right-handed, but has a good knowledge of the strike zone from both sides. The 22-year-old continues to show limited power from either side and hit the ball on the ground at almost 50% last season. Defensively played 27 games at first base and 67 games at catcher last season. Given his lack of power, his best bet to become a big league would be as a strong a strong defensive catcher behind the plate. At this point, I would say he's average all around, and that certainly has value behind the plate. Standout stat his 23 stolen bases were tied for fourth. Mets prospect Chris Suero led with 35 among 452 minor leaguers who played at least 100 innings at catcher last season. Let's see. Hang on a second here. Number 35. Let me see. Damn. Number 35, Saul Garcia. He was signed as a international free agent, age 22, and he's a right-handed reliever. The cousin of former Mets legend Wilmer Flores had easily the best season of his career in 2025 with a 1.85 ERA in 34 innings for High A Brooklyn, and then signed with a 1.32 ERA in 13 to 2 innings for Double A Binghamton. His strikeouts were well above average in both stops with a 37.6 strikeouts. Overall, following the regular season, Garcia pitched 35 more innings in the Venezuelan Winter League and was solid with a 4.37 ERA and 42 strikeouts to only 9 walks. 9 walks. Okay, the walks are a good sign as that was his lone issue during the regular season with 27 in 47 2/3 innings. Garcia features a fastball that sits 93 to 95 miles per hour that tops out at 97 with above average spin. He gets good extension and comes from a low release. He also mixes in a slider and changeup. The slider is by far his best secondary, and looks like a big league pitcher with the number of whiffs it induces. All right, the standout stat: Garcia's 37.6%, ranked fourth among 57 Mets minor leaguers with at least 40 innings pitched. His 1.70 ERA also ranked fourth. Number 34, Cam Tilley, right-handed pitcher, drafted in 2025, seventh RD. Tilley in the 7th round last year and gave him a signing bonus of $397,000, which is slot value of $254,000. Hold on. Okay. All right. Yes. So Tilly was a starter and reliever in 2 years at Auburn, but has the type of arsenal that could play as a starter. Let's see. His fastball sits in the mid 90s, which is max 97 miles per hour, with above average spin rate and induced vertical break. He mixes in a slider with above average spin that generates whiffs, and he also mixes in a curve. Again, impressive spin and a splitter with above average drop. As you can tell, Tilly has a potentially impressive mix of pitches, but struggled to command most of his arsenal in college. Tilly hasn't appeared in a pro game yet, but did participate in the Mets Top Guns pitching development camp during the offseason and was listed as a starting pitcher. Number 33, Felipe De La Cruz, left-handed pitcher signed as international free agent. Um, he got yes, so yeah, he's 6 foot tall, 160 pounds, 24 years old, actually. I know Felipe De La Cruz had a 5.04 ERA and is almost 25, but I'm a sucker for lefties that throw hard and pitchers capable of capable of going multiple innings out of the pen. Felipe De La Cruz was almost exclusively a starter prior to the 2025 season. Before pitching in a variety of different roles last year, Felipe De La Cruz had a 3.63 ERA and a whopping 58 strikeouts in 39 and two-third innings for Double A Bigginson last year. The lefty did struggle, as many pitchers do, in his first taste of the International League with the Triple A Syracuse Mets. He had a 7.30 ERA fueled by 17 walks in 24 and two-third innings. De La Cruz sits 94 to 96 miles per hour with his fastball and reached 99 miles per hour once in Triple A last year. His best secondary is his slider that he uses a ton against lefties and gets plus chase rates versus both hands. He mixes in a changeup as well that he uses rarely out of the pen. I believe we will see De La Cruz in the big leagues at some point in the 2026 season out of the pen. Now to the standout stat, his 31.8% of strikeouts, ranked second among Mets minor league pitchers with at least 60 innings pitched last year. Number 32, Jeremy Rodriguez, age 19. He got traded for He got traded. He got the Mets got him in a trade of former Met Tommy Pham. Um, he could play shortstop, second base, and third base. All right, so certainly tough to spin anything positive from what Jeremy Rodriguez's 2025 season. Um, but the good news is he's still only 19. He's still only 19. His 61 WRC plus was the second lowest in the Florida State League, and his 236 slugging was the second worst, too. He did steal 34 bases last year, though he also got caught stealing 13 times. On the plus side, Rodriguez has great plate discipline and rarely chases out of the zone. A good sign for a 19-year-old. One key going forward for Rodriguez will be making more hard contacts because he makes a ton of contact right now, though it's below average in terms of exit velo. Defensively, Rodriguez has played shortstop, second base, and third base. He's a solid fielder with an average arm that best profiles to play second base long term and does play short and third well enough to bring value as a utility type. And of course, the standout stat, his swinging strike rate was in the 99th percentile in the FSL. Number 31, Camden Lowman, who's also 19. He was drafted in 2025, 8th RD, right-handed pitcher. The second right-handed pitcher drafted last year on this list as the Mets continue to bring in high upside arms into the system and have a great recent track record of developing them. Lowman received the highest signing bonus in the 2025 draft at $797,500. The 19-year-old already looks the part at 6'4" and could continue to add velo as he potentially adds weight. All right, so Lowman is currently in the low 90s and maxing out at 95 miles per hour with his fastball. He mixes in a two-plane slider, a curveball, and has started working on a splitter. Lowman has a clean, easy, over-the-top delivery that keeps him in the strike zone often. Let's see if there's anything else. Let's see. Damn, man. 36. Sheesh. Sheesh. Okay. Are you kidding me? 30. Okay, let me see. If I could find another thing that's similar. If I can find something that's similar, let me see. Let me see something. Give me 1 second. Come on. All right. Underrated New York Mets prospects 2026. Let's see. Let's see. 2026. Let me see. All right. Yeah, Let me see. This is oh boy. So Garcia. Who else is underrated, man? You got Jose Chirinos, Wyatt, Vincent Irving, Cota, Brandon Gerton, Joanna Suarez, Junior Amparo, Simon Juan, Julio Zayas, Saul Garcia, Douglas Orellana, and Yonatan hold on. Yonatan Henriquez. That's the guy that hit the winning run. I'll talk about that in a sec, actually. Cam Tilly, Joel Diaz, Jose Ramos, who strikes out a lot. Dav Davio Hurtado, Ronald Hernandez, Jonathan Pintaro, Kevin Parada, Camden Lohan, Felipe De La Cruz, Colin Hulk, Edward Lantigua, Christian Scott, Peter Casso, Trey Snyder, Jeremy Rodriguez, Randy Guzman, Giovanni Rodriguez, Antonio Jimenez. Let's see, Ryan Lambert, which I'll talk about him next. Dylan Ross, Davidson Gutierrez, R.J. Gordon, Marco Vargas, Zach Thornton, Boston Barrow, Eli Serrano III, Will Watson, Chris Suero, who hit that home run earlier in today's game that I just saw, Nick Morabito, who's also going to the WBC. He had a great time playing left field after Soto is basically going to the WBC for the Dominican Republic. I saw Jack Winiger today. Yeah, I saw him in today's game. You got Jonathan Santucci, Alien Pena, Ryan Clifford, who strikes out a lot. Jacob Reimer, of course. So, coming off an injury dampened 2024 season, Reimer made up for lost time last year and showed the organization that the hard work that he put in during the 2024 to 2025 off season was paying off. Last season, he slashed 282, 379, 491 with 17 home runs and 88 runs scored between high A and double A. I really like his bat, and I think that he is one of the more underrated prospects in the NL East. Unfortunately, the offseason acquisitions of Bo Bichette and Jorge Polanco have really muddled up his path to immediate playing time. Another season like last year, and he could force the Mets to make some tough decisions. Number four, also AJ Ewing, who I saw in one of the games. Ewing played across 3 levels last season, ending in Double A, showing off his strong ability to get on base, slashing 315, 401, 429, while also displaying the damage he can do on the base paths, stealing 44 bags in 51 attempts. His swing is currently geared for contact, but the bat speed is there to predict decent future power numbers and more likely to come in the form of doubles and triples instead of over the fence pop. He is a very athletic and versatile player who could settle nicely into a multi-positional role. It is a little hard to see where he currently fits into the Mets plans, but guys that can hit, play solid defense, and steal bases will typically find their way into the lineup. Yeah, you know what's interesting? I was watching one of the live streamers on YouTube who covers the Mets and stuff. And someone actually said that he has the same swing mechanics as Michael Conforto, which I think that's a compliment, man. That's a compliment, man. Like there's nothing wrong with what this person said. Anyway, Jonah Tong, who I also saw in one of the games, that's number 3. Tong absolutely shoved it last season, combined between Double A and Triple A, posting a 40% strikeout rate, a 0.92 WHIP, and 2.16 xFIP. When the Mets needed help down the stretch, Tong was up to the task and did his part to keep the rotation afloat. He features a four pitch mix highlighted by a high spin fastball that sits 93 to 95 and a deceptive changeup that plays well off the four seamer. The delivery is unconventional and quite deceptive, which gives hitters fits, but has also led to control issues at times. He also looks the part of in the part of a solid number 3 pitcher with some strikeout upside. Um Upside. Let me see. Yes, he is currently on the outside of the rotation pitcher, but you can never have enough quality pitching, and Tong will be ready when his name is called again. And of course, Nolan Lightning McLean. McLean had a spectacular MLB debut last season, starting 7 games for the Mets, seemingly stepping right into the role of ace until the club traded for Freddie Peralta this offseason. He gave up only 6 total earned runs in his first seven games, giving up 5 runs in his worst outing, but struck out a career high 11 in that game in late September. The former two-way player posted a brilliant 2.06 ERA, 1.04 WHIP, and 10.7 strikeout slash 9. The 24-year-old makes this top prospect list as he's thrown 48 major league innings, so he should still be prospect eligible in many dynasty leagues as he's still under the 50 IP threshold heading into 2026. And last but not least, Carson Bench. I saw him in action as he had a 3-hit game, because one of the comments that kind of caught me was when he said that he hates to strike out. And you know, and yeah, I don't blame him, man. He's a competitor. And he's hungry for he's hungry for the big leagues, man. You know what I'm saying? But some people are saying that you don't want to rush the guy, man. You don't want to rush the guy because if you rush him, you'll be doing the same like Jonathan did. So yeah, I think sometimes a little time in AAA to get his development better. So yeah, so Bench is in line to break camp with the Mets and man right field on opening day. Should everything fall into place over the next several weeks, New York's 2024 first round MLB draft selection spent last season playing across 3 levels. That's A plus, single A, double A, and triple A, slashing a combined 281, 385, 472, 857. His 24-game stint in Syracuse to end the season wasn't an eye-popping as the numbers he put up in high A and double A, which could possibly signal a bit more time needed in the upper minors. As I've stated before, to me, success at the double A level is a good indicator of success in the big leagues. Ben's stay in Binghamton saw him hit 317, post in OPS of 978, slug 8 home runs, and tally 72 total bases in only 32 games. So, yeah, these are your underrated Mets prospects. All right. So there you go, right there. Let me see what else. What else I need to talk about here? Let me see. Let me make sure I don't miss out on any topics. I did. Yes. Juan Lagares. Yeah, I'll get. Yeah, Juan Lagares retires. Yeah, let's talk about him along with Ryan Lambert. I'll talk about that next. Let me see. Come on. If I can find it. Let me see. Um All right. Juan Lagares' retirement. So let's talk about this though. So, former Mets center fielder Juan Lagares announced his retirement from baseball on Thursday. Lagares played in 10 seasons in the major leagues, 8 of which came with the Mets, while his MLB playing days ended in 2022. He played in the Dominican Winter League in each of the last 4 years. Lagares signed with the Mets as an international free agent in 2006. While he was originally a shortstop, Lagares transitioned to being an outfielder in 2009. After spending 7 seasons in the minor leagues, Lagares made his major league debut in April of 2013, while his bat produced just a 75 WRC plus. Lagares flourished as the Mets' everyday center fielder thanks to his glove, posting a sparkling 25 DRS in 108 games. Lagares followed up his rookie campaign with the best season of his career in 2014, improving his slash line to 281, 321, 382. That's 101 WRC plus in 452 plate appearances and recording his second straight season with 25 DRS. Lagares' 5.2 B WAR and 2.9 F WAR were the best marks of his career. He earned a glove award at the season's end, and he remains the last Mets player to earn that honor. The Mets rewarded Lagares with a 4-year extension worth $23 million. $23 million. Whew. Hmm. That's an interesting amount of money. Where were we? Yes, 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 yes. Unfortunately, Lagares was never able to match his production from 2014 in the ensuing years, battling injuries and mostly being relegated to a backup role after the team acquired Yoenis Cespedes in 2015. He had one more great defensive season in 2017, posting 17 DRS in 85 games, but his year was truncated by a thumb injury. He had a few more notable moments at the plate. On May 22nd, 2019, he delivered a 2-out bases clearing double against Sean Doolittle to give the Mets an 8th inning lead against the Nationals. Later in the year, on September 12th, Lagares crushed 2 homers, including a grand slam, driving in a career high six runs to lead the Mets to a dominant 12-1 victory over the Diamondbacks to cap a 4-game sweep. Hmm. Let's see. The Mets declined Lagares' option for the 2020 season, and he signed a minor league deal with the Padres, though he would end up re-signing with the Mets that July. He appeared in 2 games as a defensive replacement before being designated for assignment in August, ending his Mets career for good. Lagares signed with the Angels ahead of the 2021 season and spent parts of 2 seasons in Anaheim before heading to Korea for a 49-game stint with the KBO's Double SG Landers. Lagares finished his Mets tenure with 7.6 F WAR and 12.3 B WAR over his 8 seasons in Flushing. While he was never considered a superstar, he exceeded the expectations he had as a prospect, and fans fondly remember watching him patrol center field in orange and blue. Okay, now we go to Ryan Lambert. Let's get into him. Let's see what's happening with him. Let me see. All right. As an organizing principle, I don't believe in ranking relievers highly in good systems. Time and again, the efforts of the public baseball community to project reliever performance have been shown to be little more than random guesswork. There are also just a higher volume of other good players, more valuable roles for us to talk about, according to the folks from Amazing Avenue. That's another. That's not a universal rule, though. Ryan Lambert checked in at 19, right behind the only other reliever on the list, Dylan Ross. On our off-season top 25, and I like him a lot. We're all familiar with the don't scout the stat line maxim. But man, what a stat line. Lambert hasn't posted an ERA above 1.71 or a strikeout um, walks below 21.5% at any level since being drafted out of Oklahoma in the 8th round of the 2024 draft. When he started the year at Brooklyn, for some reason, he posted a negative 0.48 FIP, not a typo, over 8 innings with 17 strikeouts and a single walk. Fundamentally, Lambert is a 95 and a slider relief prospect. It's a very special 95, though, an IVB heavy offering that he consistently blows by batters at the top of the zone. The Mets organizationally place a lot of emphasis on fastball whiffs, and Lambert fits that philosophy to a T. A's for the slider component. It's a less consistent offering, stuck in a bit of a middle ground between a high velocity breaker or a sweeper with bigger movement. It is consistently sits in the mid to upper 80s. There have been flashes here, though, and it's not unreasonable to project a bit more improvement with additional reps. I guess he eventually lands on a bit of a harder slider pairs with that pairs better with his vert heavy four seam rather than a true sweeper, which might be too visually distinct to full batters. Lambert is, of course, not perfect. That's right. He's not perfect. He's only human. All right. So, in addition to the slider being a work in progress, his command remains a bit spotty, and his walk rate ballooned to 14.7% in Double A last year. The impact of his fastball might be somewhat muted at higher levels by his over the top slot, an arm angle where this type of movement isn't as surprising for hitters. Also, the usual hitting and relief prospects risk apply as well. But when you are building from a foundation as strong as Lambert's primary offering in a system that has been as successful as the Mets have been recently in improving pitchers, I think you bet on this upside playing out. There's legitimate late inning upside here, even if most relief prospects we say that about wind up as much less. Expect Lambert to start in AAA this season and get a shot with major league side before too long. Plus, he's a meat. No, plus he's a metalhead who loves steak. I mean, how can you not love that? Steak, yum. Yeah, let's see if there's anything else I need to talk about. Let me see. Let me see. Um, yes, let me see. Let me get to the arbitration part. The arbitration part. Let me get to the arbitration part here. Let me see the arbitration thing. Let me see if I can find this. Okay, arbitration. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, arbitration. Let me find this. Arbitration. Wait a second. Okay. This is, let me see if I got this right. Okay, so the New York Mets got busy yesterday, agreeing to contract terms with catcher Francisco Alvarez, starter David Peterson, and three other pitchers, Tyler McGill, Huascar Brazoban, and Reed Garrett. The contract agreements were part of a series of agreements across MLB as teams seek to avoid arbitration with some players while getting the money numbers on others locked down before spring training, as reported by NBCSports.com. Peterson's contract is the most significant. His deal is for 1 year, $8.1 million, and he'll get a raise of $3.475 million after going 9-6 with a 4.22 ERA in 30 starts. Um, he's a possible trade piece, but with this money number, Peterson could also start the season in the rotation. He's also a candidate for a swing role depending on what moves the Mets make going forward to clarify their rotation. Alvarez's contract is much smaller, but his potential is far higher. He gets a 1 year, $2.4 million contract, but Alvarez also qualifies for arbitration as a Super 2 player. Expectations are high for the catcher after the 24-year-old Alvarez hit 256, 339, 447 over 76 games after dealing with injuries and doing a stint at AAA Syracuse. The Mets are hoping Alvarez can supply some of the power lost due to trading Brendan Nimmo and letting free agent first baseman Pete Alonso walk in free agency. He's been one of the Mets' most promising prospects for several years now, but it's time for him to deliver. The contract situations of both McGill and Garrett are injury related. McGill underwent Tommy John in September, while Garrett had the surgery in October, so both players are expected to miss next season. Both also got 1-year deals, and McGill's number was $2.5 million in a situation in which the Mets could have non-tendered him. Garrett, meanwhile, is a Super 2 player, and his contract was for $1.3 million. The 33-year-old reliever is under Mets control through 2029. So the Mets are hoping for an eventual bounce back season after the surgery. Bronzebon is a 36-year-old reliever who rode the Syracuse shuttle in September. He's also a Super 2 player who's eligible for arbitration, and he had a 3.57 ERA in 63 innings for the Mets last year. Bronzebon still has an option year left, so he could spend another year riding the shuttle, but he showed enough down the stretch for the Mets to hope he makes the roster and stick. Okay. Okay, let's see. What else? Let me see what else I gotta talk about here. Let me see. Let me see. Yes, the Mets are building a facility. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this though, man. This is very important. This is very important as far as um player development. Let's talk about that though. Hold on a second. Mets development. Let's see. Okay. All right. This is according to mesmerizeonline.com. In sports, the difference between the average teams and the great teams is investment. This applies strongly to baseball, as teams with the best player development systems perform at a higher level than their less invested counterparts. And with their latest project, the New York Mets are looking to elevate to the top of the sport. On Wednesday morning, the Mets officially broke ground on their 55,000 square foot player development complex. As stated in their press release, the new companies will feature a 7,000 square foot weight room with a 1,500 square foot cardio mezzanine, turf, and gymnastic flooring, a 5,000 square foot locker room with 180 lockers, and 1,300 square foot training room, and 1,800 square foot hydrotherapy area with hot and cold plunge pools, treadmill pools, and extremity tubs. A 2,500 square foot team dining room with full service kitchen and a 2,000 square foot multi-purpose room. At the event, numerous renderings were made available for media and attendees to view. They showed off the new turf field, weight room, cafeteria, and more. Howie Rose led off the event, discussing how the project reflects the goals of owners Steve and Alex Cohen. Steve and Alex's commitment to building sustainable long-term success and their drive for the organization to succeed at every level clearly shine through in initiatives like this. David Stearns, also speaking at the event, said that the complex will allow the Mets to cement us as the preeminent player development organization in baseball. He also added that the complex will be complete by 2027. Later in the day, MLB.com's Anthony DiComo provided more information on the new player development complex. Costing $60 million, the project had been in the works for the better part of the decade. He also added that Steve Cohen covered the entire cost of the complex, a fact confirmed at the event by the Port St. Lucie County Commissioner. In a sport where a team like the Los Angeles Dodgers has thrived because of its impeccable player development pipeline, this move should be a slam dunk for the Mets. By 2027, it would not be surprising to see New York immediately benefit from the new facility while also laying a strong foundation for the future. All right, one more thing to talk about here. Um, a little recap and highlights of today's spring training game against the Houston Astros by the New York Mets, which they won. I will get into it right here. And the hero who I just mentioned just now, hold on a second. Hold on one second. Yes, here we go. Yeah, they walked it off. All right, so the New York Mets continued their spring training schedule on Sunday at Clover Park against the Houston Astros. Clay Holmes, who's also going to the WBC, made his final start prior to heading to represent Team United States at the World Baseball Classic. In the contest, the Mets and Astros were tied at 3 until the bottom of the ninth inning when Yonatan Henriquez walked it off for New York. The aforementioned Holmes threw 4 innings of 1-run ball. He allowed 3 hits, walked 1, and struck out 4 over those 4 innings of work. Through 2 spring appearances, Holmes has thrown 7 to 2/3 innings, allowing 4 hits and 3 runs to go along with 7 strikeouts and 3 walks. Behind Holmes, the Mets only allowed 2 more runs. Notably, top prospect Jack Wenninger struggled mightily with his control. Across 2 separate appearances in the same game, Wenninger threw 1 and 2/3 innings, allowing 2 runs due to the 5 walks he gave up. Elsewhere, Bryce Conley, Anderson Severino, no relation to Luis Severino, of course, and Matt Turner combined to string together 3 and 1/3 innings of scoreless ball. Offensively, the Mets were relatively quiet. The scoring came in the game's fourth and seventh innings prior to the walk-off in the ninth. In the fourth, Tyrone Taylor hit a solo homer, his second of spring training. Then the red hot Christian Pache lined a ball to center field with 2 outs to bring around Christian Arroyo, who walked earlier in the inning. In the seventh inning, Chris Suero hit a ball over the left field fence. Suero had a 837 OPS in high A prior to getting a promotion to double A in 2025. To close the scoring in the ninth, Austin Barnes led off the inning with a double to the gap. Jackson Clough was able to move the runner to third base via a dribbler right at the plate. Following that, Yonatan Henriquez lined the ball over the second baseman into left field with 2 outs to bring home the game winning run. Henriquez age 21, spent 2025 between the single A and high A levels, posting a respectable 746 OPS to go along with 35 stolen bases. Player of the game is Christian Pache. Christian Pache continued his strong spring training with a run scoring hit as well as a walk, reaching base in each of his at bats. Pache is now 8-for-11 with a 1.182 OPS this spring. And of course, on deck, the Mets finally have some time off as they are not slated to return to action until Thursday, March 5th against the Washington Nationals. The game is set to take place at Cacti Park of the Palm Beaches in West Palm Beach, Florida. All right, I want to get to the rundown on the next telecast of the New York Mets games, but first I want to get to the New York Knicks schedule. So here's the rundown of the schedule for the New York Knicks. All right, let's take a look here. Hang on 1 second here. Hang on 1 second here. Let me find it. Okay. All right. We in March, right? Okay. Let's take a look at March. Okay. So the next game for the New York Knicks, as they go against the Raptors Tuesday, March 3rd at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on MSG, followed by Oklahoma City Thunder versus the New York Knicks Wednesday, March 4th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. New York Knicks versus Denver Nuggets Friday, March 6th, 9 p.m. Eastern Time on MSG. New York Knicks versus LA Lakers Sunday, March 8th at 3:30 p.m. on ABC. New York Knicks versus LA Clippers Monday, March 9th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. New York Knicks versus Utah Jazz Wednesday, March 11th, 9 p.m. Eastern Time on MSG. New York Knicks versus Indiana Pacers March 13th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Amazon Prime Video. Golden State Warriors versus New York Knicks Sunday, March 15th on NBC. Indiana Pacers versus New York Knicks Tuesday, March 17th, 7:30 p.m. on MSG. New York Knicks versus Memphis Grizzlies Wednesday, March the 18th at 8 p.m. on MSG. New York Knicks versus Brooklyn Nets Friday, March 20th at 7:30 p.m. on MSG. And of course, Washington Wizards versus the New York Knicks Sunday, March 22nd, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on MSG. All right, I'm going to hold off right there as I go on to the next telecast of the New York Mets in spring training. So let's see. All right, so the next telecast of the New York Mets as they have a game with the New York. All right, so New York Yankees versus the New York Mets on Pix 11. That's a 6 p.m. That's a 6 p.m. time on March 9th, Monday, March 9th at 6 p.m. on Pix 11. And of course, Miami Marlins versus the New York Mets Tuesday, March 10th at 1 p.m. Eastern on SNY. Followed by Friday the 13th, 6:10 p.m. time, the New York Mets versus the Miami Marlins on SNY. And of course, Sunday, March 15th at 1:10 p.m., New York Mets versus the Toronto Blue Jays
Starts at 1:10 p.m. on Pix 11. And yeah, there you have it right there. There you have it right there, man. I'm about to wrap up right here, right now, actually. So let's wrap up this though, man. But first, man, I'd like to congratulate the New York Mets for actually getting a first walk-off win. All right. This is pretty cool. And of course, the hero, um, Yonatan Henriquez, who who gave the Mets a win with a hit. All right, congratulations to them, and also congratulations um, to the folks that's building a player development complex facility that should help the Mets prospects instead of rushing them. You know what I'm saying? All right, so let's make some noise for the New York Mets winning their first walk-off win, defeating the Houston Astros. All right. Let's get into this last segment right here, Street Choices on the Go. Let's go. All right, folks. Make sure you follow Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast, the Sports Edition show platform on Facebook, alongside with Blue Sky Social and alongside with Threads and Instagram. The same goes for my other podcast shows that I do. Excuse me. Um, the same for my other podcast shows that I do on a weekly basis. Um, it's on the same social media platforms that I just mentioned, and you can also follow. And yes, Meticulous Values podcast, the entertainment review show, is on Instagram, as well as Off the Meat Rat Chains New York Avenue podcast as well. And of course, you can follow your host with the most G Money Stacks 555 in Queens, New York. All right, so there you go, right there. And also, I will go over where you can listen to the audio episodes and the visuals as well. So, if you go to the link in bar where it says Linktree / Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks Pod, you're gonna see a whole list of audio streaming platform podcast feed links. And when you go there, you're going to see a whole list, so you can't miss that. So I will start off with Audible, Odyssey, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts. Make sure you leave a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts alongside with a positive review. It really helps me out as the host of multiple podcast shows that I do. And it gives me the confidence for me to come up with some more new sports topics. And of course, it gives me the determination to actually continue to succeed in podcasting. So, you can listen on Castbox FM, These are Listen Notes, Moon FM Podcast, Overall FM Podcast, Pandora, Player FM, Pocket Cast, Podo Polo, Podorama, Podcast Index, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Podverse, Podcast Guru, Podcatcher, Podcast Republic. You can also listen on Snipped alongside with Spotify. Make sure you add this sports podcast platform right here on your Spotify playlist and press the notification bell so you know and get notified on when new episodes will be dropping on every streaming platform. So, subscribe and stuff. So, yes, you can also listen on Spotify for creators alongside with TuneIn Radio, Fountain, Good Pods, iHeartRadio, the number one app where you can listen to your favorite rappers, R&B singers, and other music genres, including pop star singers. You can also listen to different music genres, your favorite AM and FM radio stations, and also you can listen to the audio. You can also listen to the podcast episodes for free. You don't need a credit card or debit card to download iHeartRadio. All you need to do is download iHeartRadio onto your phones, such as iPhones, Android phones, iPads, Android tablets. You can also download iHeartRadio onto your laptop models, which includes Apple and Dell laptop models, which includes Windows 10 and Windows 11. All right. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the sports YouTube channel page of Excellent, Fun, Vibrant Talks Podcast. And leave a like and a comment alongside with the sports topics. Tell me how you feel about one of the topics involving the underrated Mets prospects and all the other topics whatsoever that you like to talk about. So drop it in the comments below. I will be doing some updates on the YouTube community tab alongside with Facebook, alongside with Blue Sky socials, Threads, and Instagram as well to let you know when each episode is going to be dropping and all that great stuff whatsoever. And then I'll let you know on the promotional schedule. I'll let you know on the next TV telecast of each Mets game as I have it in my notes on my tablet. So I got y'all with all that stuff right there. So yes, you can share the Linktree link with your husbands, your wives, your boyfriends, girlfriends, and friends, alongside with the people you are cool with from work that are interested in sports related stuff. And also I like to mention, if you have kids who are into baseball, there is a let me just look this up real quick actually. Let me just look this up real quick actually, so I can actually get an idea on what I'm going to say. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, I want to mention something for you folks that have kids that's into baseball. There is a play ball event that's going down, which is presented by SNY, presented by Toyota. You can also, and of course, if you have kids who have their favorite baseball players and stuff that they like to get autographs and interact with and everything else, it's not too late right now, so you can apply to sny.tv/play ball. All right. You can go to www.sny.tv/play ball. Deadline to apply is March 16th. So you might want to hurry up and apply. All right. So you might want to get to it right away. And yes, as I was saying before, you can also enable alerts so you'll know when I'll be on the air via live stream with new recordings of each episode. And of course, you'll get notified on when each which video episode podcast episodes will be uploaded to the YouTube Sports YouTube channel page, and of course, be sure to also spread the word. Word of mouth is important, and of course, enable alerts so you be able to know when each episode is going to be dropping, and of course, new episodes will be dropping on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. All right. So there you go, right there, man. Before I wrap up here, man, I think somebody sent me a notice. Let me take a look here before I even get up out of here. And I want to give a shout out to who is this? Who is this, man? Hold on 1 second here. 1 second. Who is this? Holy shit. Wait a minute. Is that who I think it is? Wait a minute, man. That has to be shout outs to Amon. Shout outs to Amon, man. What's up? He says, "What's up, G Money?" Yeah. Shout outs to Amon, man. And hold on a second here. For those of you who may not know who Amon is, actually, and he's saying what's up to me. I appreciate that. He's one of the YouTubers who you mostly see in Anthony Rivera's Subway to Shade podcast. You mostly see him in Tony Metro's live streams. You also see him and sometimes what is it, Queen's Baseball Live podcast. Yeah. So yes, there you go right there. So yes, there you go right there. Like I said, man, if you want more Mets baseball stories and news and stuff like that, though, man, you can check out Queen's Baseball Live podcast on Thursdays at 8:30 on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to their channels whatsoever. And shout outs to Randy, Top Bunk, alongside with the Pope, alongside with Swift, alongside with the other guys. All right. Odd Villain, Odd Villain, yeah. He's also in there too. So shouts to all the guys out on there on the Queens Baseball Live podcast page on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to their channel, and also make sure you subscribe to Randy Talks Mets YouTube channel page, and also make sure you subscribe to Anthony Rivera's Subway to Shade podcast. Also, make sure you subscribe to also Till Mets Steelers Park podcast alongside with Top Bunk Sports. He has the Knicks, and he also has the 7 Express podcast. Make sure you subscribe to that channel as well. So there you have it, folks. I'm gonna do a list of recommendations of each sports podcast in one of the following episodes. So keep it locked. Stay tuned for more new podcast topics. Make sure you tell a friend and everything else. And that's gonna do it for me, man. I'm your man G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator. Rhymes went now or later. And I'd like to say thank you very much to every single one of you who took the time to listen. You could have listened to any other sports podcast in the whole world, but you chose to listen to this podcast as well. Remember, the grind doesn't stop. Hard work pays off. If you want something, you have to work hard and earn it. It's not going to be given to you on a fucking silver platter. So if you plan on starting a podcast, don't let anybody stop you or discourage you. And don't let anyone discourage you about the numbers and the algorithms and all that other stuff, man, because high expectations can really stress people out. So for those of you who are planning on starting a podcast, I would say keep at your own pace. Don't try to be too much of a people pleaser. And of course, be yourself behind the microphone as you are recording your podcast episode topics. And of course, before I forget, be on your P's and Q's creatively, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, that gets you into your zone alongside with tunnel vision. And yes, if you have any sports topics that you want me to talk about as far as the New York Mets or even the New York Knicks or what's going on in the offseason of the New York Giants, I would gladly cover that whatsoever. I just didn't get a chance to add a little bit of the football news and stuff like that because I was more focused on trying to get into the spring training aspect of the New York Mets since baseball is back. And yeah, man, stay tuned for more new topics in the next episode, and I'll see y'all next time in the next episode. And of course, stay tuned for the next episode as I talk about a few things in the next episode regarding the New York Mets and everything else in between. So yeah, I'm up out of here. Peace and one love. Let's go, New York Mets. Good night, everybody.